there is no returning to pre-pandemic economy. Here we go again. All right, so AP News. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said Tuesday that the U.S. economy has permanently changed by the COVID pandemic and it is important that the central bank adapt to those changes. Those changes range from the increase in remote work to restaurants, offering more takeout meals to real estate agents, learning how to show homes virtually, he noted. Many companies have already made large investments in technology to adapt to the challenges that the pandemic has presented. Powell said the heavy investment by companies in new technology means that there will be more jobs in the future associated with maintaining that technology, but also potential job losses in industries focused on in-person contact. It seems a near certainty that there will be substantially more remote work going forward. That's going to change the nature of work and the way work gets done. Do you agree?
No, I don't.
Right.
And I think this is a fad, a cycle that we're going through. I don't think we can sustain the fact of not going to the office. I also, where's a little optimism? Where's a little hope coming from our leaders saying, hey, you know what? We're on the verge of this pandemic becoming an endemic, okay, where we're going to be able to live with it. We're not going to die. We're going to survive. I just don't like the messaging. And I think eventually once we pass this cycle we're going through with high inflation, and maybe we get some different leadership in there. But no, don't make broad statements like that when we just don't know.
Yeah, interesting, man. We kind of went through something like this already with the Industrial Revolution, where society kind of stratified itself into urban and agrarian, and then it kind of happened again after World War II when you had urban and suburban. And it's going to happen again now. There are people that are genuinely hate being around other people, that love working at home, that love wearing masks and not having any human interaction. And it's going to be very difficult for them to come back into society. They don't want to. They never wanted to. And then there's other people like myself who I need to be around other people. I have to be in social environments. I go nuts when I'm not. And I realized about myself in the last 18 months. I'm a very tribal guy. I need to be part of a crew. And you're going to have people that are doing that. You're going to have people that are going to find environments where you have to be social, and they're going to be able to find environments where they don't want to be social. But I also say, look, this is the Obama doctrine also. When they're talking about the economy, it's more than just the functionality of it. I mean, they tell you we're going to build back better. They've been straight up. The World Economic Forum has straight up told you will own nothing and be happy. And part of that fine print that you're talking about, what they didn't tell us is that it's because they're going to own everything. $3.5 trillion in stimulus already. The greatest theft in the history of the world. They took $3.5 trillion of the taxpayer dollars and made it their dollars. And what did we get for that? $1,200, maybe. Some of us got $1,200 for $3.5 trillion. Then they're going to get another trillion only if we give them $3.5 trillion on top of that. So they already got $4 trillion. They're going to get $4.5 trillion. This is on top of the 8 years of quantitative easing from Obama. The dollar is basically worthless compared to what it was 10 years ago. And all of that money is now their money. They figured out a way to make the entire world sick. And the way to heal everybody, it turns out, was to make all of our money their money. Brilliant.
Kai, what do you think about what Powell said?
I mean, I think it's interesting. It's more of a long-term effect as well, if you look at kind of how things have changed. I think it was Yuval Harari that said initially, we read an article back when we were still in Dallas, of how a tremendous amount of change has happened in a very short amount of time, and a lot of that can't necessarily be reversed. So I think there's definitely more long-term effects of this, of what initially bounces back, and then trends or habits that have been changed indefinitely. So I think that'll kind of play a big part as well moving on as we go. But then you also have, like we saw in the other article, where retail spending back to school is higher than it's been the last few years. So there's kind of things that are contradicting, but I mean, we'll kind of see how things play out as time goes on.
It's crazy when you're saying this. So, okay, remember when everybody bought newspapers? How long ago was that?
15 years.
Yeah. 15 years ago, guys. Yeah. When we bought newspapers. Remember when everybody at their house had a photo album? How long ago was that?
Yeah. Landline phone?
No, when's the last time we had actually photo albums at the house?
It wasn't that long ago.
My
Not
parents
that long
still do.
ago.
My parents still do. Yeah.
15 years ago, 20 years ago, right?
Yep.
When's the last time we had landlines? How long
10 years
was
ago.
it?
10, 12 years
But by
ago.
the way, if we did the percentage, like if I could pull up the data to find out how many people don't have a home phone that they use, minutes, I would love to see the stats of minutes used on your home phone 20 years ago, 30 years ago, to minutes being used on.
I haven't had one in 5 years.
Do you even have
or
a
10.
hard line in the office?
I have to have it.
Is there a hard
because-
line here in the office?
On the office? Do we have a hard line phone here or no? Yeah, we do. We actually do. We actually do. But if you ask me how many minutes I've spoken on my home phone, matter of fact, When is the last time you spoke on a home phone?
Years.
I haven't had one in 10 years.
Kai, when's the last time you spoke on a home phone? Think about that.
10 years?
How about when you used to say, I have to take this call, it's long distance?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. What about when the cord came out? When the extending cord came out, and you could actually
Or what
take the
about
call
cable?
into the.
Like, do you even have cable anymore?
So what I'm trying to say is there's a part of what he's saying is true. Like some industries are going to change, flat out. Here's what we know. We had Sebastian Maniscalco at the event last week. I'm backstage, him and I are having a conversation together, and I said, hey, Sebastian, how's it been for you? He says, well, I've been doing a lot of Zooms. I said, how's it? He said, it's very different. It's very weird. Just get up there and you're trying to make people laugh, but you need a reaction. You're not really getting it, but it is what it is. We're doing it. People want to do it, and it's just like a conversation that we have with them. What's this? U.S. household telephone. I'd want to go 20 more years back, but that's interesting right there from 2010 to 2016. Look at that shift right there. 68.2, 29.7 to 50.8, 45.9. But going back to it, some industries, you have to be around people. Are restaurants going to go out of business? No. Not go out of business. Are they going to be going away? No. I want to go to dinner. I want to go have a sit down and have a conversation with you, right? Is there going to be an opportunity to disrupt it? Yes. Are movie theaters going to go away? Yes, if you kind of try to do the same way we've been doing it for 20 years. So I think there's going to be a lot of disruption that takes place, but I also think some industries are going to take a hit. Like, you know, the whole story with 70% of Fortune 500 companies from 1960 are no longer around today. Yes, of course, because today I sent this tweet. I don't know if I posted a tweet yesterday or not, where I said, things are changing so fast. The ability to adapt and be able to predict how human behavior is going to react to something in the next 12, 18 months, that's the formula. So how are we going to react to the COVID? If somebody could have predicted that 12, how are we going to react to this stimulus? If somebody could have known, you would have made the right investment. It's all about being able to predict it, not 100%, but if somebody can do that and make the adjustments, because things are changing very, very fast today. Now, let's flip it. Are people going to want to be to themselves and not be around people? I can't see that happening. I can't see handshakes. You know, when I'm shaking hands now, I'm like, hey, how you doing?
They do the elbow.
But you know what? We know what you see is a lot of people right now just shake hands. I'm seeing, like, especially in Florida, maybe not in California. California's like, don't even get close to me. But people are shaking hands.
True.
Hey, how you doing? I was in Indiana. I went there and like, guy comes up, you know, a driver. How you doing, sir? I'm like, oh, I don't know you. You don't know him? That's cool. Shook his hands, right? So some of the stuff I think will go away. But I think a lot of the stuff that's the human interaction, I don't think
How
that's
can
going
a
away.
company thrive when people aren't at the office, especially big companies? I just think, sure, for a little while you can adapt and make it happen, but over the long term, I think people have to be at the office. By the way, have you guys seen the stories lately on the cottage industry that's popped up lately with people working from home? It's people holding 2 or 3 full-time jobs and not letting the other companies know about it, having separate computers. I mean, this is a big thing. There's a big online forum where people share ideas and how they're getting away with it.
Did we talk about that or no? We haven't talked about it on the... Add it to the story next time. Yeah, there are people that are doing multiple full-time jobs.
Full-time jobs. And that's why they want to stay working at home. And then how they dividing their time and making sure
Ain't
their
going to
meetings
work
don't
long-term.
I don't know.
You know why
way.
it's not going to work long-term? How long can you run how long can a con man keep con?
Yeah, double life, man. You just can't do it.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.